Sporting EOS, human combustion. This mysterious phenomenon has puzzled scientists and investigators for centuries. In these cases, human bodies appear to burst into flames without any external source of ignition, often leaving surrounding objects remarkably untouched. The scientific community has proposed several theories to explain this bizarre occurrence. The most widely accepted is the wick effect, where the victim's clothes act as a candle wick and their body fat serves as fuel. This process, known as adipocause serrae formation, can create a slow, intense burn that consumes most of the body while leaving surroundings relatively unaffected. Modern investigations have revealed that many victims share common characteristics. They are often elderly, physically inactive, and alone when the incident occurs. Some cases have shown links to alcohol consumption, smoking, or certain medications that might make the body more combustible. What makes these cases particularly intriguing is the pattern of burning. Victims are often found reduced to ashes, with only their extremities remaining intact. The extreme localization of the fire damage, often confined to the body itself, challenges our understanding of how fires typically spread. Despite skepticism, documented cases continue to emerge, with approximately 200 reported instances worldwide in the past 3 centuries. This has led to ongoing research into human tissue combustibility and the role of environmental factors in these deaths. Death by launcher. While it might sound impossible, dying from laughter is a documented phenomenon that reveals fascinating insights into human physiology and the power of emotional responses on our bodies. The mechanism behind death by laughter involves a complex chain of physiological reactions. Excessive laughter can trigger severe muscle spasms, respiratory failure, and, in extreme cases, cardiac arrest. The body's oxygen levels can become dangerously depleted during prolonged laughing fits. Historical records contain several famous cases, including the Greek philosopher Chrysippus, who allegedly died laughing at his own joke in 207 BC. More recent cases have involved people dying during comedy shows or while watching funny movies. The medical community recognizes this as a form of cataplectic attack, where intense emotional responses trigger sudden muscle weakness. In severe cases, this can affect breathing muscles and heart function, leading to fatal complications. Modern research suggests that individuals with underlying health conditions are particularly vulnerable to this rare form of death, as the physiological stress of prolonged laughter can exacerbate existing cardiovascular or respiratory problems.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Killed by falling coconuts. This seemingly cartoonish cause of death is actually a serious concern in tropical regions, causing more fatalities annually than shark attacks. The physics behind these accidents reveals why they're so dangerous. A falling coconut can reach speeds of up to 50 miles per hour, delivering an impact force of around 1,000 pounds. This is more than enough to cause severe head trauma or instant death. The height of coconut palms, often reaching 25 meters, 82 feet, contributes to this lethal force. Insurance companies in tropical regions take this risk seriously enough to offer specific coverage for coconut injuries. Some beach resorts employ professional coconut harvesters to regularly remove risky fruits, creating an entire occupation dedicated to preventing these deaths. The World Health Organization estimates that around 150 people die each year from falling coconuts, though exact numbers are difficult to verify due to inconsistent reporting in many regions. Most tragically, many victims are local workers or tourists, simply relaxing under palm trees, unaware of the potential danger above. This has led to increased awareness campaigns in tourist areas and the development of safer harvesting techniques. Auto-brewery syndrome death. Auto-brewery syndrome, also known as gut fermentation syndrome, represents one of the most bizarre metabolic conditions known to medical science. This rare condition causes the body to produce alcohol internally, leading to spontaneous intoxication. The condition occurs when excessive yeast in the gut converts carbohydrates into ethanol, essentially turning the digestive system into a brewery. Victims can become legally drunk without consuming any alcohol, leading to dangerous situations and, in extreme cases, death. The most dangerous aspect is the unpredictability of blood alcohol spikes. Victims might suddenly experience extreme intoxication while driving, working, or operating machinery. Deaths usually occur through accidents rather than direct alcohol poisoning. Medical research has identified several risk factors, including previous antibiotic use that disrupts gut flora, immune system disorders, and certain dietary patterns. The condition can develop suddenly in previously healthy individuals. Treatment typically involves antifungal medications and strict dietary changes, but some cases have proven fatal before proper diagnosis due to the condition's rarity and the skepticism patients often face. Death by hiccups. Prolonged hiccups, while usually harmless, can become a lethal condition when they persist for extended periods. This seemingly minor annoyance can escalate into a life-threatening situation through various mechanisms. The longest recorded fatal case lasted 68 years, demonstrating how chronic hiccups can severely impact quality of life before leading to death. The constant muscle contractions can cause exhaustion, malnutrition, and severe sleep deprivation. Medical literature describes cases where persistent hiccups led to fatal complications, including respiratory failure, heart rhythm disruptions, and severe dehydration. The constant interruption of normal breathing patterns can strain the cardiovascular system. Modern medicine recognizes several underlying conditions that can trigger fatal hiccup episodes, including brain tumors, central nervous system disorders, and certain infections. The inability to eat or drink properly during severe episodes contributes to the risk. The psychological impact of chronic hiccups can also lead to severe depression and, in some cases, suicide, making this condition both physically and mentally devastating. Fatal insomnia. Fatal insomnia represents one of the most terrifying ways to die, as victims remain conscious while their ability to sleep gradually disappears completely. This rare genetic disorder offers profound insights into the crucial role of sleep in human survival. The condition typically begins with mild insomnia but progressively worsens until the person becomes completely unable to sleep. As the disease advances, patients experience hallucinations, severe weight loss, and deteriorating cognitive function. What makes this condition particularly devastating is that there is currently no cure or effective treatment. The progressive loss of sleep leads to multiple organ failure, with death typically occurring within 12 to 18 months of onset. Scientists studying this condition have gained valuable insights into the role of prion proteins in brain function and the fundamental importance of sleep for survival. The disease has helped reshape our understanding of sleep disorders. The genetic nature of the condition means it often affects multiple family members across generations, creating a tragic legacy that has helped researchers track and study its transmission patterns. Dancing plagues. Deaths. The dancing plague, particularly the infamous 1518 case in Strasbourg, represents one of history's most bizarre mass phenomena. Victims would dance uncontrollably for days or weeks until they collapsed from exhaustion or died from heart failure or stroke. What makes this phenomenon particularly fascinating is its infectious nature. Starting with a single person, the compulsive dancing would spread to others, eventually affecting hundreds of people. This mass psychogenic illness reveals the powerful influence of social and psychological factors on physical behavior. Even in cases where the disorder was not intentional, psychological factors can exert highly effective tools towards shoring up the roads and drawing back from violent crime and even suicide. Modern analysis suggests that several factors contributed to these events, including severe social stress, religious fervor, and possibly ergot fungus poisoning from contaminated grain. The combination of these elements created a perfect storm for mass hysteria. The physical mechanism of death was primarily through exhaustion, dehydration, and cardiac failure. Victims would dance until their feet were bloody, their bodies gave out, and their hearts failed. Some estimates suggest that dozens died during the 1518 outbreak alone. This historical phenomenon continues to intrigue medical researchers and sociologists, offering insights into mass behavior, psychological contagion, and the devastating physical effects of prolonged involuntary movement. Selfie-RELATED. The modern phenomenon of selfie deaths represents a unique intersection of technology, risk-taking behavior, and human psychology. Since 2011, hundreds of people have died while attempting to capture the perfect self-portrait. The psychology behind these deaths reveals concerning patterns. The desire for social media recognition often overrides basic survival instincts, leading people to take increasingly dangerous risks. Common scenarios include posing on cliff edges, with dangerous animals or near moving vehicles. Secondary trauma includes taking risks, unsuspecting visitors, or disapproving friends with dangerous animals or near moving vehicles. Research shows that young adults, particularly males, are most at risk. The combination of impulsivity, desire for social validation, and underestimation of danger creates a lethal mix. India, Russia, and the United States lead in reported cases. What makes these deaths particularly tragic is their preventability. Many victims were experienced photographers or adventurers who simply took one risk too many. Some countries have now established no selfie zones at dangerous locations. The phenomenon has forced social media platforms to consider their role in inadvertently encouraging dangerous behavior, leading to discussions about digital literacy and responsible content creation. Death by drinking too much water. Water intoxication, or hyponatremia, demonstrates how even life's most essential element can become lethal when consumed in excess. This condition occurs when drinking too much water dilutes blood sodium levels below sustainable levels. The mechanism of death is particularly insidious. As blood sodium levels drop, water moves into brain cells, causing them to swell. This swelling can lead to seizures, coma, and death. The brain's confined space within the skull makes this swelling especially dangerous. Best known to be the condition that causes the swallow of blood sodium chloride, or CBT, with reduced blood flow to the brain's cell walls. Most victims fall into specific categories: endurance athletes who overhydrate, participants in water drinking contests, and people with psychological conditions causing compulsive water drinking. The tragedy lies in the good intentions. Many victims believe they are making healthy choices. Medical experts emphasize that the body typically needs only about 2-3 liters of water daily. The kidneys can process about 0.81-0.0 liters per hour, making rapid consumption of large amounts particularly dangerous. This cause of death highlights the importance of balanced hydration and understanding that even beneficial substances can become deadly in excess. Fatal familiar insomnia. Distinct from regular fatal insomnia, fatal familial insomnia, FFI, is an extremely rare genetic prion disease that affects about 40 families worldwide. The condition progressively destroys the brain's ability to regulate sleep and other basic functions. The disease typically manifests in middle age, beginning with mild insomnia that rapidly progresses to complete inability to sleep. As the condition advances, victims experience increasingly severe symptoms, including hallucinations, rapid weight loss, and dementia. What makes FFI particularly cruel is that victims maintain awareness of their deterioration. The progressive loss of sleep leads to a cascade of physical and mental symptoms, while the genetic nature means watching family members suffer the same fate. The condition has provided crucial insights into the role of sleep in human physiology. Scientists studying FFI have discovered previously unknown aspects of how prion diseases affect the brain and the fundamental importance of sleep cycles. IFC. Despite intensive research, no cure exists and death typically occurs within 12 to 18 months of onset. The disease has become a key focus in both sleep research and prion disease studies. Killed by own reflection. This unusual cause of death, while rare, reveals fascinating insights into animal behavior and human psychology. Cases typically involve individuals becoming obsessed with their reflection to the point of self-neglect, or aggressive birds and animals fatally attacking their reflection. In human cases, extreme narcissistic behavior can lead to dangerous situations. Historical records describe individuals so captivated by their reflection that they neglect basic needs like food and water, leading to death through self-neglect or accident. Among animals, particularly during breeding seasons, males may repeatedly attack their reflections in windows or mirrors until they succumb to exhaustion or injury. This behavior has been documented in birds, fish, and some mammals. The phenomenon highlights the powerful impact of self-position and territorial behavior on survival instincts. In humans, it often connects to deeper psychological issues involving body dysmorphia or extreme narcissistic personality disorder. Modern cases often involve social media and the increasing prevalence of mirrors and reflective surfaces in our environment, creating new contexts for this ancient danger. Death by brain eating amoeba. Naegleria fowleri, commonly known as the brain-eating amoeba, represents one of nature's most efficient killers. This microscopic organism causes primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, PAM, with a fatality rate over 97%. The amoeba typically enters through the nose when people swim in warm, fresh water, Once inside, it travels along the olfactory nerve directly to the brain, where it begins destroying brain tissue. The speed of infection is particularly frightening, with death usually occurring within 5 to 7 days. What makes this organism especially dangerous is its presence in common recreational water sources. Lakes, rivers, and even insufficiently chlorinated swimming pools can harbor these deadly organisms, particularly in warmer months. Initial symptoms mimic common illnesses, making early diagnosis difficult. By the time distinctive symptoms appear, the infection has usually progressed too far for effective treatment. Only a handful of people have survived documented infections. Recent climate change has expanded the amoeba's range, making this once rare threat an increasing concern in regions previously considered safe. Buried alive. Burial. Throughout history, premature burial has represented one of humanity's most primal fears. Before modern medical technology, determining death accurately was challenging, leading to numerous cases of people being buried while still alive. The horror of premature burial led to significant innovations in death verification and burial practices. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the invention of safety coffins, equipped with bells, breathing tubes, and other signaling devices. Some wealthy individuals requested elaborate waiting periods before burial. Medical records from the past reveal disturbing evidence of premature burials, including scratch marks inside coffins and bodies found in contorted positions. The development of modern death certification arose partly in response to these tragic cases. The actual process of death in premature burial typically involves a combination of suffocation, dehydration, and psychological trauma. Victims might remain conscious for several hours, experiencing progressive hypoxia as oxygen depletes. Modern cases are extremely rare but still occur, particularly in areas with limited medical facilities or during mass casualties. This has led to continued development of sophisticated death verification protocols. Death by furniture. Falling IKEA/heavy furniture. The seemingly mundane danger of falling furniture claims hundreds of lives annually, particularly among young children. This modern hazard has increased with the popularity of tall, lightweight furniture designs and DIY assembly. Statistics show that a child dies every 2 weeks from furniture tipovers in the United States alone. The physics behind these accidents is devastating. A falling bookcase or dresser can exert thousands of pounds of force in milliseconds, causing instant fatal injuries. What makes these deaths particularly tragic is their preventability. Most cases involve unstable furniture that wasn't properly anchored to walls. The combination of curious children, heavy objects, and insufficient safety measures creates lethal scenarios. The furniture industry has responded with design changes and increased safety warnings, but deaths continue to occur. Many victims' families have become advocates for stricter furniture safety regulations and awareness campaigns. These incidents have led to major recalls and redesigns by furniture manufacturers, highlighting the importance of balancing aesthetic design with safety considerations. Killed by houseplants, toxic indoor plants. Common houseplants can harbor deadly secrets, containing toxins capable of causing severe illness or death. This danger is particularly insidious because these plants often appear harmless and decorative. Some of the most dangerous houseplants include Dieffenbachia, dumcane, which can cause fatal swelling of the throat, and oleander, which contains cardiac glycosides, potent enough to stop the heart. Even small amounts of some toxic plants can be lethal. Children and pets are particularly vulnerable, attracted by bright berries or interesting leaves. The mechanisms of plant toxicity vary widely, from respiratory paralysis to organ failure, making treatment challenging if the specific plant isn't identified quickly. What makes these cases especially tragic is that victims often don't realize the danger until it's too late. Many toxic houseplants are traditional favorites, passed down through generations without awareness of their risks. Modern emergency medicine has improved survival rates, but prevention through education remains crucial. Botanical gardens and poison control centers maintain extensive databases of toxic plants to help prevent these deaths.